Hi, I'm Shayla with Revolting Science Resources, a company designed to bring the principles of project management to academic scientists. Today's video is going to be a little different than the videos you'll normally see on my channel. I'm actually doing a collaboration with Dr. Kate Sleeth of Educated STEM, where we both share some of the things that we wish we knew before starting grad school. This will be part of a series of videos where we cover a few different topics and some advice that we have. But these videos are going to be split between both my YouTube channel as well as the Educated STEM YouTube channel. There'll be a link in the description box below where you can check out Kate's channel and see some of the other videos in this series. Also, we'd love to hear some of your thoughts as well. What are some things you wish you knew before starting grad school? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comment section below this video. But with that little bit of intro covered, let's jump into the conversation between me and Kate. Hi, I'm Shayla with Revolting Science Resources, and today I'm going to be doing a different video where I am joined by Dr. Kate Sleeth, and we are going to share a little about some of the things that we wish we knew when we were getting a PhD. So I'll turn it over to Kate quickly so that she can introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate. I am the founder of Educated STEM, where I talk about careers and personal and professional development. And so I'm very excited to be working with Shayla on this series of videos. You're going to have to move between both of our YouTube channels to see them all. And we're going to be talking about career paths and agency today.
Yes. And yes, so I'm excited to kind of jump in and share some of the things that I wish I'd known about career paths and agency. And like Kate mentioned, this is a series that we're doing that's between both of our channels. So if you look in the description box below, I'll have a link to Kate's channel so that you can check out some of our other videos. But the first thing that I wish I had known before I started my PhD was that I'm ultimately the person that's responsible for my own progress in learning. I think going through traditional school for, all of, primary, secondary, eventually higher education, you actually tend to have a lot of things just told to you. You are told when your assignments are due, you're told what the ultimate goal of all these projects are. You are told when you need to do them so that you make progress the whole time. And then eventually you graduate and everyone cheers as you walk across the stage. I think when I got to my PhD, I was expecting a little more of this, like almost hand holding of, okay, do this and then do this. And now you do this. And now we've made progress and we've got a project. And what I quickly learned was that a lot of the time that is not the case. You are given some sort of a project idea. Maybe there are some people who train you or help you get started, but you're the person that needs to actually make the progress. You're the person who's in charge of making sure things get done on time, making sure people know the information they need to about where you are in that project, getting the help that you need if you do need help on something. And I think I just wasn't fully aware of just how much of my own like motivation, energy, the actual progress of my projects required from just me and not other people.
Yeah, you definitely need to hold yourself accountable. And I'm a huge proponent of regularly meeting with your PI to discuss the project and the progress that you're making, any issues that you have. And that kind of keeps you on track because they know what they're doing. And they also know, presumably, how long each experiment might take. So they can help you organize things more effectively. And so I think that it's very different from undergrad when you start your graduate school. You've been with a very large group of people, probably an undergrad. And in my case, I had over 100 people in my kind of area. There were a number of different degrees, but we were all kind of in the biology department. And we always saw our grades. I don't know if you do this in America, Shayla, but we had our grades posted on a wall. So you could see what you were doing, how you were doing, and you could literally compare yourself to other people, which is possibly not very nice because it does kind of serve to have a little competition there, but it definitely helped kind of motivate you because you're like, ooh, crumbs, not where I want to be. So you kind of knew. And when you started graduate school, I was in the Medical Research Council, so I was away from the university, which was actually giving me my degree. And so I only had a handful of graduate students around me. So realistically, literally four in my year. And then, kind of because it's the British system, we had students above and then below us. So maybe 12 graduate students at the Medical Research Council in total. So we were a very small group. We all knew each other. And it could just get very competitive in a, I'm, going to this conference, I am writing this paper, I am doing whatever it was. And certainly for my first year, I was writing lots of short documents. And a lot of the people in my year thought it was hysterical. Like, why are you doing all of this work? You're working all of these evenings to get all of this done. And then at the end of my first year, I had my introduction. That was my introduction. I just needed to kind of update it. And so whilst they were laughing and thinking this was really silly, I was actually getting really ahead of my dissertation writing. But the competition was still there. And so just know you're in competition with yourself, not the other people in your cohort, because it's really how quickly can you do things? What conferences are you going to? What papers are you writing in relation to where your research is? Just because someone else has a publication this week doesn't mean that you're not going to get one next week. But you shouldn't get despondent by comparing yourself to them. You have to motivate yourself. And you also have to remember, especially in America, this is many, many years. So you can't cram, you can't do something for a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden get a PhD. That's not the way it works. So you have to do consistent, self-motivated, pushing yourself along for, in my case, 3 years. In America's case, normally 5 to 6 years. So you just have to be very self-motivated and consistent.
Yeah. And yeah, and I think that's something that like you said, in undergrad, that's just not always how it has to be to make progress. And so I think it's something that is a little different that you just kind of have to get used to. And also would have been nice, I think, if I just had a more concrete sense of what this actually is like to be in grad school and to really have to be self-motivated and make that progress on your own. I think another thing that I just didn't really know, and also I think, especially in kind of STEM fields, there can sort of be this pressure too of just like living in the lab. But at the end of the day, you want to have a career outside of grad school. You want to eventually get a job. And sometimes living in the lab maybe will help you achieve that. But a lot of the times, most people who are getting PhDs are not going to continue in academia long term. And so I think having some just like sense that, the professional development skills that I gain or courses I take or other things I do to just improve my professional development are really going to be on me and that they are important. And I actually should spend time doing them. I think I didn't spend enough time during my PhD really honing in on different skills that are transferable between different careers, or even just that would have given me maybe more leverage or the ability to have more options after graduating. I kind of bought into the sense of like, just kind of live in the lab. You do all your experiments, you like try to publish all these papers, and those are all important things. But I think that there can be balance. And at the end of the day, no one else is going to care about your future career except for you. And so I think I kind of, just got a little bit too focused on what I was doing in the lab and maybe not what I could be doing to potentially prepare me for future career success.
Yeah. So did you have a career center or someone who put on events for you? Because I know when I was putting on events for my students, I looked at where they were in their year. And so graduation was coming up May, June. So working back from that, I would do CVs, interview skills, things like that at the beginning of the year. But then I had a whole ton of students who were like, I was focused on finishing, so I didn't come. And it's like, well, I already had the session.
Yeah, we did also have like a career office that put on events. And that's another thing that I think I did not take enough advantage of. Like I got all the emails. There were a few that I attended that were useful. But there were many that I was like, no, I'm doing my experiment. I'm going to stay in my lab and do that. And I think that's something that I definitely wish I would have taken more advantage of, because there are so many great programs that career offices put on for grad students and postdocs to help prepare them for future career success. And I think sometimes it's hard to like convince yourself that that's something that's a valuable use of your time, but it is. I'm here to tell you 100% it is.
It definitely is. And I didn't have that when I was a graduate student, but when I was a postdoc at different institutions, I definitely attended all of the different sessions that I could, which then kind of opened my eyes to all of the different career paths that I could take, because I thought I was going to become a research professor. And I think if I had stayed in breast cancer research, I probably would have. But because I had to kind of move into slightly different research, I just didn't enjoy it as much. And so, having been to all of these different presentations, I realized, oh, I don't have to go and become a researcher in industry. I could actually move into industry and go into kind of more business facing or marketing or kind of product development. I don't even have to go into industry. I could go off and become a consultant or whatever these other career paths are. And everyone has a very unique path depending on their skill set, what they enjoy. And so don't consider what everyone else is doing. You have to focus on what you want to do and what you enjoy. And so hopefully your institution has something called an individual development plan. If not, there is one available online. I have my own. If you want to contact me, and I will send it to you. But part of the individual development plan, other than considering what you want to do short term, it asks you to consider, what are these skills? And at least in mine, do you enjoy them? Because I've had so many meetings with graduate students who have said, no, I don't want to be at the bench anymore. I don't want to do research. I'm going to go off and become a scientific writer. And so my next point is, great. So you enjoy reading the literature and you enjoy writing. And they look at me and they say, no, I don't really enjoy that. And it's at that point where I have to say, well, those are the two skills that you need to actually be good at and enjoy if you want to become a scientific writer. And then we talk about, actually, if you don't enjoy those things, what do you enjoy? And then we work backwards into a job versus looking at what everyone else is considering and thinking, I'll do that too.
Yeah. And I think that's such great advice. I think we don't take a lot of time to actually think about what are the parts of this job I really like, and what parts could I lean into that could lead to other careers that are maybe not the most traditional paths that people take outside of graduate school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to consider what you do enjoy and also what you don't enjoy. I think it's a key point to remember that there's probably isn't a job anywhere, which means that you can avoid everything that you don't want to do ever. But as long as you can reduce what you don't want to do and increase the things that you do, you should hopefully find a fulfilling career.
Yeah. And I think that's really great advice and really great things to think about. All right. So I think that's it for this video where we shared just a little about some of the things we wish we knew about before we did a PhD about career paths and agency. And so again, you should definitely check out Kate's channel to see some of the other videos that we're going to do in this series. But that's it for now. So that's it for this video where Dr. Kate Sleeth and I shared a little about some of the things that we wish we knew before starting grad school. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like it, feel free to subscribe not only to the Revolting Science Resources YouTube channel, but also the Educated STEM YouTube channel. Again, the link to the Educated STEM YouTube channel will be in the description box below. And that's also where you can go to check out some of the other videos that are part of this series. But that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.